Welcome back to the part 3 of Unit 1 of DBMS. In this section, we are discussing about the architecture of the DBMS, and the architecture is of the three types. First one is two-tier architecture, second one is three-tier architecture, and third one is multi-tier architecture. And also we discuss in this section where the DBMS is not necessary. Now the architecture of the DBMS, it is the architecture is essential description of the location of the pieces of information that makes the database application. And these are three types. The first one is two-tier architecture, three-tier architecture, and the third one is multi-tier architecture. The two-tier architecture is also known as client-server architecture, in which the client contains the presentation code and the SQL statements, and the server contains process the SQL statements and send the result to the client or user. Here we are giving the diagram of two-tier architecture. It has two layers. First one is client. First tier is called client, and the second tier is called data server. In client tier, we have three services called user interfaces, and the presentation services, and application services. And the second tier or data server contains application services, business services, and data services. In the presentation services, the application which is present the data to the user, the parts of the application which present to the server. In this it will be interact with the database data. The presentation of data not containing any validation rules. The business services. The business services encapsulate the organization business process and the requirements from the encapsulate an organization business process and the requirements. The results are derived from the steps necessary to carry out day-to-day business in the organization. The rules can be validated because the valid data types and formats, and processing rules which ensure that the business process is following a complete operation for the incoming data. And the third service is application service. It provides the necessary functions necessary for the application. Data services, it provide access to the independent of their it provide the data accessing independent of their location. And the advantage of two-tier is it is a good approach for the system, and it is stable requirements and a moderate of clients. And the next advantage is it is simple to implement. And the drawbacks or disadvantages of the two-tier architecture is software maintenance can be difficult, because the software maintenance is because we are implementing so many operations and services to the user. And the second disadvantage is every client in this architecture can modify the business logic code independently. And the third drawback is the performance of two-tier architecture can be very poor. That means very slow or very unsecured. And the fourth drawback is the it does not support a large number of clients simultaneously. And from these drawbacks, we are going to develop another architecture called three-tier architecture, in which we can provide a third layer that is the middle of the first client and the data servers, that is called a second layer or an application service. So here the tasks are divided into three: the client tier containing user interface and presentation services, and the second tier application server containing application service and business services, and the third tier data server it provides data services and data validation rules. Here the three-tier architecture is functional, in which the functional processing of logic, data accessing, and data storage and user interface are developed and maintained as independent modules on separate platform. Here the first layer, the presentation layer, and that is also known as user tier. The end user operations that can be known nothing about the existing database behind this layer. That means it can hide the existing database from the user. It provide multiple views of the database, can be multiple views of the database to the user, as well as it view all the generated by the applications that reside in the tier. The second layer, the middle, is called data tier or database. In this tier, the data resides along with the query processing languages such as SQL, and which are have relations and define the data and their constraints at that level. At the third level, it is a middle tier. It is called a middle tier, or it is called a application tier, in which the application server and the programs that can be access the data. For the user tier, the presentation of abstract view of the database. The end user are unaware of any existing database behind the application. At the other end, the database tier is not aware of any other user behind the application tier, as the application layer sit in the middle and act as mediator between the end user and the database. This is the third one is the multi-tier architecture or entire architecture, or it is called multi-tier architecture, in which the application servers are interacting with each other and then provide the required information to the clients. In entire architecture or multi-tier architecture, or it is a three-tier architecture, can employ a logic architecture superimposed on distributed physical models. Here distributed means the data will be distributed among different computers of the network. The application services can access their application services in order to supply the services to the client, that is the user, and the application as well as other application servers. And here we are supporting suppose we have two client application services, they will be interacting with each other. The multi-tier architecture is the most general client server architecture. It is very difficult to implement because of its generality. However, it is a good design for implementing. It can be provided the most benefits in terms of scalability and interoperability and the flexibility. Here the scalability means it can be extended any size, and interoperability means it is interacting with each other and the information can be provided to the end user. And the flexibility, it will be changed or modified at any time whichever we needed. And this is about the architecture. Now we are discussing about the where the DBMS is not necessary to implement. In this concepts, the first situation is if the application is simple and well defined and not expected to change, then we need not implement the DBMS. And it is also not implemented. The runtime overheads are not feasible, because runtime operations are not feasible means a feasibility is the possibility So the feasibility will be in terms of technical feasibility, financial feasibility, operational feasibility, and etc. If it is not affordable, then it is not there. Then we need not implement the DBMS, and it is also not implementing whenever the multi-accessing of database is not required. And this situation, because if the database used by a single person or a single user, then it is not needed to implement the DBMS. And the advantage advantage of DBMS is it is high cost. It is very high cost when compared with the file systems, because if it is high hardware costs, because the implementation of the DBMS requires so many application servers, data servers, and storages and networks, etc. But because it is involved with the high cost, so it is when in that situations, it is not. It is a disadvantage. High programming cost. The programs used or the software used in this DBMS is also very costly. That's why it is, when compared with the file system, it is some. These are the some disadvantages. Okay, thank you.